Hi, Miss Lucia. Good afternoon. You're muted. I can't hear you.
Good evening, Dr. Alka. It's so lovely to see you.
Indeed, it's a pleasure to see you too.
And we have our audience so eager and ready to participate this evening.
That's
So
lovely.
welcome
That's
to the audience and welcome to our community.
Welcome, ma'am.
Very good. So we will begin now. Dr. Alka, there's a very interesting topic that you have been exploring with our community. The last session was also with regards to this, and we're diving into it a little bit more in depth. And it's twice exceptional, giftedness with disability this evening that we will touch upon. The first question, Dr. Alka, is can gifted students have learning disabilities?
Thank you so much for your question, Miss Lucia. And a very, very good evening to all the participants this evening. I'm extremely delighted to have everyone in here. Now, your question about giftedness and can a gifted child also have some kind of a disability is a wonderful question to start with. Disability can be in anyone under the sun, anyone, whether it is gifted or not gifted child. And when a child is gifted, that means has a higher level of cognitive abilities or academic achievements or performance in any area to a heightened level. From there, we're talking about children who have disabilities. They may have issues in reading, writing. They can have issues in attention and focus. They can have issues. They can be on the spectrum. So they can have plenty of issues as well. So there is nothing which says under psychology that if the child is gifted, he may or may not have the challenges. So that's quite clear that a child can have both. So normally it is, if we look into a normally distributed curve, so the right side of the curve is for the children who are high achievers and they are higher than the median, and the left side of the curve indicates the children who are low achievers, and we normally put them into our SEN groups. But there can be children who can be on the higher side in certain abilities, but parallelly on the lower side in certain other activities. And that is why they're called double E children, double exceptional. They are exceptional on the positive side and they are exceptional on the challenge side. So exception exists on both the sides, and that is why these students are known as double E students.
Thank you very much for that, Dr. Alka. That really clears a lot up. The next question, Dr. Alka, is what is the difference between gifted and twice exceptional?
Yeah, so the twice exceptional are those gifted children who are gifted and they are also having some kind of challenges. That is why they are known as, you know, gifted with another exceptional thing into it. So the difference between gifted, the children who are only gifted with no challenges, they are called gifted children. But the children who have giftedness with the challenges, they're called double E children, double exceptional children. And most of these children, Miss Lucia, I would like to share here, giftedness is of different nature. Now, these are the children, either their strengths outweigh their challenges. So if their strengths are seen more than their challenges, then certainly the focus is more on their strengths, but not on their challenges. Or otherwise, there could be children whose challenges are more than their strengths. So they do have an area of amazing ability, but a lot of challenges on the continuum is a very profound level of challenge. then the whole team of educators are more focused on the challenges and probably their strengths are ignored. And the third type of children who are having challenges and strengths almost the equal level and they're collapsing together. And once it is collapsing, they're very average looking children. So nobody either take care of their remediation nor take care of their acceleration. So neither they have their IEPs in school nor they have their ALPs in school, because ALPs are the advanced learning program, which is normally for the children who are gifted and talented. And IEPs are individualized educational plan, which is basically for identifying the kind of the remediation needed for the child to achieve better in school. So these are the three categories of them. So we don't really know. Each has a very unique profile. And that is why our regulatory authorities now stress a lot on GNTs, the gifted and talented. The reason being there are a lot of children who sitting in the pockets of SEN, special educational needs, and their talents are just not noticed. So this is important for educators to ensure that they are able to identify all the needs of the learners, and then they are in the position to paint the success stories in their life.
Hmm. That's very, very interesting, Dr. Alka, and it's complicated somewhat. So it really
Yes.
needs to be understood, I think, on the parental side and the school and everyone working with that particular student. Thank you, Dr. Alka. The next question is, what are the signs of twice exceptional?
Right. So when we talk about the twice exceptional children, Ms. Rochelle, when we talk about the signs of twice exceptional, so that means they are on the gifted side and they are on the challenge side. So when we talk about the gifted side, on the gifted side, these are the children who have high cognitive abilities. So their cognitive abilities are on much higher level. They have high academic achievements. The achievements are on a higher level. They are very inquisitive. Their questions are much more intelligent. Often these children show the activities they are able to do which is not even taught to them. So they are, performing at a much better level of performance. They're very inquisitive. The analytical reasoning are better, but at the same time they can have various challenges. And what could be the challenges? They could be on the spectrum. They could be an ADHD child who will have great concerns with attention, focus, that's just missing. It could be a child with dyslexia. He has only issues with language, spelling, reading comprehension. So he faces those serious issues, he needs remediation there. It could be that this child has an issue in the field of, say for example, he has challenged dysgraphia, poor handwriting, slow writing, very, very slow writing. So he's just not able to write at the pace of the class. So in turn, he's missing out on so much. So there are so many things, believe it. So that is why we say that each child is a unique composition. And it is the responsibility of the school to understand it and to support them. See, unless we understand the raw material, how can we really support them? It's so important to identify their strengths, at the same time their challenges, and then design a plan which is going to support them.
Very good, Dr. Alka. That sounds like the key. The next question, Doctor, is there any test for twice exceptional students?
Oh, this is a very, very intelligent question once again. And I think a lot of parents would love to know that. Because see, when they're very young, only you see the kind of the vocabulary they use, the kind of the language they speak, they amaze you, the kind of the thinking they reflect. The creative thinking is of a very high level. It is not age appropriate. It is plus 2 years, plus 3 years, very, very high, 2, 3 years higher than, so say a child who is just probably 4-year-old and is talking and behaving like a 10-year-old or an 8-year-old. So it's very obviously seen. So when we talk about these children, uh, very significant, very, very significant for us to understand is that where is the challenge in these children? What exactly is the difficulty? Now, when we talk about the test, certainly we know that these are the children who have very, very high level of intelligence, very high level of intelligence. So their IQ is much, much higher, very, very high. And they are like 130, 140, 150, 60, that kind of an IQ they have. Now, high IQ is there. How do we, what are the tests to understand their IQ? Well, WIPSI is the test, which is Wechsler's pre-scale, pre-primary level of an intelligence scale for children. You can do some part of it for a child of even 2.5 years of age, but well, 4 years plus, it becomes very reliable test. And we have WISC, which is Wechsler's intelligence scale for children. It's always, a testing done at much later age is more reliable and valid, because by that time things are more confirmed into the child. So there are loads of tests which can be done to identify their IQ.
Thank you, Dr. Alka. The next question is, can those individuals that are twice exceptional be successful in public schools, or do they require a special school?
It's again a very, very intelligent question. See, when we talk about a schooling of these children, I believe in inclusive education, but I really hope and I pray that the school system understands their need, because their need is very, very specific. So first step is screening, where they're screened through the class, and then assessment, and of course the interventions. So does the school is equipped with the resources? Do they have assessment procedures at place? Do they have plans at place? Do they have resource room at place? Do they have the teaching community, which not only identifies and assess, but is willing to support them in their challenges? So they do need remediation. At the same time, they certainly need the accelerated program in certain years. Now, say, for example, there is a child who is in grade 2, but his maths is about grade 4 level. So he certainly need to be in a cluster teaching where he goes for his higher level maths. Otherwise, he will be so disinterested in the maths class. And that is the time he will either be pinching or poking or distracting the rest of the class, because he's not finding any enthusiasm in learning maths of grade 2 level, which he mastered a couple of years back. But at the same time, he may have dyslexia, and he might be having a challenge in the field of language. So probably he needs to go for his spellings to a remedial class. So I think I would not say a special school or a private school or public school. What I think, any institution which is ready, equipped with tools and techniques for these children must actually support them. So the institution which is aware, the senior leadership which is aware and willing to support them, is the right kind of an institution for them.
Very good, Dr. Alka. So that too is a very important key for these students.
Is.
The next question, Dr. Alka, is what is the academic plan for the twice exceptional student? I know you sort of touched upon it just a bit, but if you can really go into it a little bit more. Thank you.
Sure. So as I've been stressing on, that these children on our bell curve come from the extreme right and the extreme left both, and that is why we call them EE children. So in their educational plan, they certainly need certain accelerated classroom. So depending upon their strengths, be it in language, be it in analytical reasoning, be it cognitive abilities, be it academic performance, whatever area they're excelling, the school should have the facility to give them the accelerated learning program. At the same time, we know that they do have challenges. So to keep their challenges in mind, the schools should be able to do the cluster teaching where they go for their remedial, or maybe they're pulled out of the classroom for their remedial, depending upon the kind of the challenge they're facing. Because the challenge again can be mild, moderate, severe, profound. So it depends. It could be one field, it can be multiple fields. But that doesn't mean that if a child is amazingly talented in sports and yet facing a challenge, I have seen a lot of schools do this, that because they have a challenge in any of the academic subject, though he's a great sports person, but his PE period is taken for his remediation, which is the crime. So what you're doing is he's gifted in sports, so you're just taking away his, instead of giving him an accelerated sport exposure on the campus, you're taking away his PE period and putting him in for learning of English. So
Yeah.
the concept of double E is very important, Miss Lucia, for the educators to understand and then make an individualized plan for that child, so that the need of that child should be understood by the institution, and there should be a coherence among the senior leadership along with the SEND team, that what is the need of the child, because the child will have tremendous need. The child will need the resource classroom, the child will need the accelerated learning, the child will need the cluster grouping, but the plan should be very clearly defined, and they should have their short-term, long-term goals defined, written down, not only verbal. So their IEPs should be at place, their ALPs should be at place, and if it has reached their behavioral level, then their BIPs should be at place. That is, the behavior intervention plan is BIP, advanced learning plan is ALP, in the individualized educational plan is IEP. These are the technical terms. They should be at place.
Very, very important, Dr. Alka. And I think there's still lots that has to be done in order to promote the best for these students. Lots and lots.
And Miss Lucia, you would be surprised if the institution does the right kind of an intervention and they monitor the outcome of that intervention. It is amazing because they're so happy. Like if he's a exceptional child in sports and sports remain his focus, and when we focus on what his strengths are, believe it, those strengths will not start improving, but it starts covering up for his weaknesses as well. So the plan has everything in it. So if the school understands that and supports them, life is going to be amazing for them.
Thank you, Dr. Alka. The next question, Dr. Alka, is what type of enrichment activities can be used for the twice exceptional student?
There are lots of exception, enrichment activities which can be done with these children, because as I said that they are, if they are suppose amazing with their cognitive abilities and they have wonderful verbal exposure, suppose, and their analytical reasoning. So the moment we do the testing and we understand that their VCI component is high, we say that their verbal comprehension is high, or their working memory is high, or we identify their perceptual reasoning is. These are some four basic pillars of a learning environment. So if the child is high on something and the school understands that, then they should be encouraged within the classroom structure to be the mentors for the other children. So they, using that skill, they should be helping the other students out, and because they would be finishing their task using that skill much faster. So they should be given some leadership roles. So it was traditionally said that only the children who are very high achievers in academics are only gifted. But I beg to differ here. It could be on a leadership skill, it could be in sports, it could be in performing arts, visual arts, it can be any area. So if the child is good in one area and weak in another area, the teacher has to see that some kind of a leadership role is assigned to this child, so that when that particular task is happening, when the other counterparts are, struggling and working on, he becomes their mentor, he's sort of out there supporting. And I think this mentorship does amazing. It not only helps the children who he's mentoring, but it helps him himself because he feels so good giving it back to the community and working alongside. And often it is seen that these children have lot of emotional issues. Because what happens is, just imagine that there is a 6-year-old and his body is 6-year-old, but his mind is 10 years old. So certainly he has emotional issues because he's just not up there, but he's so accelerated in many things, but his body is still a baby. So if there is a discussion at home on the dining table, maybe he will sit like an attorney general and give his viewpoint very emphatically to the parents, and the very next moment if the parent is objecting to his excessive usage of say his smartphone or his any mobile game, and he starts throwing tantrum like just a 6-year-old, and he rolls down on the floor and cries about it. So for parent also it becomes a challenge how to manage. One side he shows that he's a very mature and very high level of communication, good vocab, very clear thinking. At the same time he's a little baby because his body is still not up there, whereas his mind is growing. So I think all the stakeholders for working with this child, be it the parents, the teachers, the SEND coordinators, the other siblings, and the peer group at school, they should understand the kind of the challenges they're facing. Because if that is not looked into, these children really undergo a lot of depression. And a lot of them have often said, and if the school is only focused about helping them to overcome their weaknesses, they don't want to go to school, because a lot of them have stated, I have read in their in their question answers where they've been interviewed, they said school only looks for our weaknesses and they want to make us do that thing again and again and again, and I don't like it. Or sometimes they come up saying that our friends, they don't understand us at all. So I am not comfortable in school campus. I don't want to go to school. So I think it's very, very important for parents and all the stakeholders to understand it and support them.
Yes, Dr. Alka, that is so, so important. The last question, Dr. Alka, is how can teachers provide support for the twice exceptional student?
Very, very important, because the moment the teacher is aware of that the child, what is his strengths and what are his weaknesses or challenges, I would rather call it. So the minute the strengths are known, the teacher must engage this child based on his own strengths on advanced research program, or in planning out something for the class, or in communicating and mentoring the fellows. Whereas on the other side, what his challenges are, the teacher needs to ensure that the support is provided by the school to these children in terms of their, say suppose if he's dyslexic or dysgraphia. So say for example, if his dysgraphia is there, certainly it will take time to improve. Maybe he should be given an option of typing instead of writing down, because otherwise it starts pinching his ego that he is not able to perform to his age appropriate level because he's writing slow, or he has some muscular concerns by which he's not able to write. So it's very simple. It's been noticed that if right kind of an intervention is done at an early years, these children show remarkable improvements. Like, say, for example, if the child is, say, ADHD and his sitting tolerance is very low, but when they turn into adults, they actually, establish their own coping mechanisms, and they're able to deal with it, decided they have the right kind of a teacher when they were in school, and the teacher identified and supported them to do it. So, in the, say, for example, a child is ADHD, the teacher can use this child whenever there are the notebooks to be distributed to the children in the class. So the teacher knows that he has a need to get up and move around after every 10 hours. The teacher in every 10 minutes. So the teacher, instead of saying that, the teacher can give that leadership responsibility that, all right, so these are 10 books. Can you please go to every desk, read the name and give it to the respective children? He's very happy. He got his kind of a move out there and he's back to his desk for the next task, which the teacher wants him to be engaged in. So these are the smart ways I think the teachers can intervene in the life of the children and give them a very blessed future.
Thank you very much, Dr. Alka. This has been a very insightful and fruitful discussion. We have an audience this evening that is quite eager to share some comments. So I'm happy to read a few to you, Doctor, and I hope that our audience will continue to participate by asking certain questions. So let me just now, Doctor, read the following. So there is one young gentleman who is quite eager in having me share this with you, Dr. Alka. I just need to read just go down and scroll a bit on this. Yeah, here we go. I'm 11 years old and know how to operate the Hotmail server S. I'm working on an app known as Cat Photo App. Hotmail 5. I'm interested in computers. I am multi-talented. I am gifted. He's mentioning fighting. I like arts and I'm very good at it. And I'm known as the robot of my class because I'm very good in computers.
Very good. Congratulations. And we are very, very happy that you are aware of it. Wonderful.
Now, there's a little bit more from this young man, I believe. He's asking what the student should do when the teacher doesn't want to listen to him. It's his own experience right now. He is a student and, he's wanting to know, what can he do if the teacher is not listening?
Oh, this is a wonderful question. Thank you very much. And this itself speaks for that you're a very, very smart student, just an 11-year-old, and you want to really deal with it your way, and that's something simply great. What I would suggest is that as you're talented in various areas, as you've mentioned to us, I would want you to immediately undergo an intelligence test and get this stamped. That now with the assessment, it will be stamped that you're gifted. And the moment it is identified that you're already 11, you're right in the age to undergo for an intelligence test immediately. And the moment you fall into an exceptional category of intelligence, then your parents should approach the school and inform the school about your giftedness. So the moment your parents approach the school and inform the school, the child has not mentioned whether he's in Dubai or elsewhere, but for Dubai, I can vouch for it that as per KHDA, every school is supposed to identify our gifted students. It's a big drive which every school undergoes. There is a procedure. So you have your CAT 4, you have your maps, you have your assets. These are all international benchmarks. So if you are already in Dubai, then I very strongly recommend that your institution will, have a triangulate data to identify your giftedness. And once it is established, not only your teacher should undergo a training, but even your parents should undergo a training. And there are a lot of gifted support groups for the parents. So you must guide your parents to join some of them, that they may also feel very challenging to deal with your inquisitive nature and your talent which you have. And as you're saying that at a very young age, you are in computer, like you're a biscuit, you're excellent in computer abilities. And I think it is needed that this is communicated to your teacher. So maybe your teacher is just considering you as one among many, but the moment she would know that you're a gifted child, I'm sure that she will have a totally different attitude towards you, and she would listen to you, and rather probably she will involve you in accelerated learning programs where you will find it very challenging. She might give you a lot of research options to do where you will be able to satiate your curiosity to that level. So kindly follow the procedure, see that you get it stamped, and then approach the school and inform the school. and then downwards, everything will automatically be taken care of.
That was wonderful to hear from this young man, and I hope it will be very helpful. Is there anyone else that wishes to ask any questions or want some clarifications or anything? It's your time now to speak and participate further. Very well. Well, we thank our audience this evening, Dr. Alka, and more importantly, thank you once again for such a sensational evening and for giving us so much to think about with regards to this topic. And I hope it's certainly clarified a lot for everyone. I know I am a lot more clear now, for sure.
Thank you so much, Ms. Lucia. Thanks a lot for your time. And thank you so much for engaging yourself and your time into the community development and seeing that our community get the best. Thanks a lot for your very interesting questions. And thanks a lot to all our audiences. They have pulled out the time to be with us today. And I'm sure this bit of an information, whether you're a student, whether you're a parent, whether you're an educator, use it to your best. Go and see that children get the best in life. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Doctor. Bye-bye now. Goodbye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.